Welcome back to TucsonNewsNow.com. I'm David Kelly. We're chatting with Andy Morales from AZ Preps 365 as we continue our conversation on AIA realignment. And Andy, we were talking on the air about Ironwood Ridge and Mountain View and how now it appears once the new formula is reintroduced that they will likely stay Division II. You were saying that you couldn't possibly have just two Division I teams here in Southern Arizona. And that was one of the things that I wasn't sure about because my thinking was that you'd have to have at least probably 6 teams down here to create a section for Division I here in the South.
Yes, in order to have a competition, travel costs, and a common boundary. Having teams travel to Phoenix is a lot. Having Phoenix teams travel to Tucson and knowing your opponents, it would have made for a very difficult situation.
So now you mentioned the whole free lunch thing, which I don't really understand that aspect of it and how that plays in. Explain to people like how the free reduced lunch aspect plays into how schools are aligned.
Well, there had to be a factor that the mathematicians who figured in what was the socioeconomic factor with competition and the access to club sports and they came up with that free and reduced lunch is a pretty good indicator of the socioeconomic status of neighborhoods. So it's not used as an original factor, but it can help move a team up or down.
Now, as far as schools playing in different divisions for different sports, is that common that you would have some sports at your school playing Division II and some schools playing Division I? Why wouldn't you have all your teams? And I guess I can understand for some sports like maybe boys volleyball where not all schools play that, but maybe for the Big Six as far as football, volleyball, the basketballs, baseball, and softballs, and maybe even track where most schools have those sports, why wouldn't you play all those in one division?
Well, you have a competitive issue again. Some schools like Canyon del Oro, let's take for instance, have a very good softball team. May not be as competitive in swimming. So a few years ago, the AIA opened it up to per sport rather than saying, well, you're a Division II school, you're a Division I school, because some schools may not have a wrestler, some schools may not have a volleyball team or a golf team. So it's based on per sport to make it more appealing to each student at the schools.
So when the new formula comes out and Ironwood Ridge and Mountain View, if they stay in Division II, what then will be the biggest news for Southern Arizona in respects to the new changes?
Well, then, you still have issues like tank and birdie football was moved up 2 divisions. There's still a lot of things that need to be looked at. Softball. You had Catalina Foothills in Division I, which they don't belong in. So, but in the long run, it'll get solved because there is an appeal process, and typically a lot of the appeals get approved, but you just don't want to have a massive Division II, which might happen.
Right. And in your mind, are there any, you've obviously been covering this for years. Are there changes? What 1 or 2 changes would you like to see, or do you think that maybe this new alignment is accomplishing?
I would like to see maybe like a Southern Arizona conference and a Northern Arizona conference, Maricopa conference, and then have those conferences have their own postseason, and then those play each other for like a super championship. And I think that'll solve a lot of the issues.
All right, Andy Morales, he knows it better than anyone here in Southern Arizona. He's been covering the preps for how many years now, Andy?
About 8 years, I guess.
Only 8? Oh, well, see, I thought you'd been covering.
I've been coaching and my daughters have been playing, so it's about 25 years.
There you go. Andy Morales from AZ Preps 365. Andy, I appreciate you taking the time today.
All right, thanks.